with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With those words, this nation sprung into existence. There is a reason why in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the very first protection in the very first amendment of the Bill of Rights is the freedom of religion. If we cannot worship God, if we cannot live according to our faith and our dictates, all other liberties fade away. Never have the threats been greater to religious liberty than they are right now and here today.
And he's got the passion. And our constitutional rights are under attack. Senator Cruz reminds us, with no religious freedom, we've got no freedom at all, folks. And there is a war on faith. And it is great to know that it can all be under Cruz control. It is so great to have you, Senator Cruz. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
Governor, thank you. It's always great to be with you. And I got to say, it's amazing to see a giant American flag behind you. It reminds me of the opening scene of Patton, which is always inspirational.
Thank you. I love it, too. Senator, persecution of the church, it was predicted. Some people say, oh, yeah, it's all prophesied. Well, your amazing dad, he talks a lot about this, and he teaches people about what it's all about and what we can do about it. Our rights being under attack in this day and age. Say you're the president. How is it that you can protect it?
Well, I have already committed that if I'm elected president, on the very first day in office, I will direct the Department of Justice and the IRS and every single federal agency that the persecution of religious liberty ends that day. Now, what does that mean as a practical matter? That means for every serviceman and woman, every soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine, that he or she can worship God Almighty with all of his heart, mind, and soul, and his commanding officer has nothing to say about it. That also means groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor, who I know you're very familiar with, a Catholic charity that the Obama administration is litigating against to try to force those Catholic nuns to pay millions of dollars in Obamacare fines to try to make them pay for abortion-inducing drugs. If I'm elected president, the case against the Little Sisters of the Poor will be dismissed, and the IRS will not be targeting anyone for their political views, anyone for their faith, but we will defend the First Amendment rights of every American.
It's appreciated that you're specific about it, and you have these practical solutions, and you, even with your legal background, how valuable this is, knowing what it is that is within your power as a president, being able to do. And I know that part of your effort to fight for what's right specifically is you leading a defund Planned Parenthood fight. Where are we on that?
Well, I'll tell you, this week I was very proud to host a conference call where we invited over 100,000 pastors all across this country to come together and to stand up and to speak out and to pray for our nation, to preach from the pulpit that we need to stand against this barbarism, this murder and commerce in the sale of human life, and to call on Congress to lead. You know, I think two things need to happen. Number one, you know, these Planned Parenthood videos, for anyone who watches them, they are horrific, they're heartrending. And in them, senior Planned Parenthood officials are effectively admitting to multiple felonies. I've also announced on my first day in office as president, I intend to direct the U.S. Department of Justice to open an investigation into Planned Parenthood and to prosecute any and all criminal violations. But this coming fall, next month, we're going to have a battle in Congress, a battle over funding Planned Parenthood. In my view, not one penny of taxpayer money, not one penny of your taxes or my taxes, should go to Planned Parenthood, should go to fund what appears to be an ongoing nationwide criminal enterprise. Now, unfortunately, Republican leadership is scared of this fight. They want to have a show vote, a meaningless show vote where everyone votes, it doesn't matter, and they move on. And it's going to be a real battle in September. We have Republican majorities in both houses. In my view, we should act like it, and we should stand together and say, we are going to fund the entire federal government. but we're not going to fund the ongoing murder and the sale of the body parts of unborn children. It's my hope that that's what the Republican majority actually does.
Well, you got to push them to do that, and we appreciate your efforts there. And speaking of the other side of the aisle and the battles that are going to ensue here, Hillary Clinton just suggested a comparison of independent, patriotic Americans who just happen to disagree with her socialist stance to terrorists. I want to ask you, do you know any conservative patriots hell-bent on jihad?
Well, you know, of course not. And that's the problem with the Obama-Clinton foreign policy. They can't tell good guys from bad guys. And so as a result, if you look abroad, this administration, leading from behind, they've alienated and abandoned all of our allies. We've never seen an administration more hostile to the nation of Israel than the Obama administration. You know, I think back, Governor Palin, to when you were doing the vice presidential debates in 2008. If you had turned to Joe Biden and if you had said, if the elected prime minister of Israel comes to America to address a joint session of Congress and Barack Obama is elected, I predict that President Obama, Vice President Biden, and every member of the cabinet will boycott the elected prime minister of Israel. If you'd have said that, you would have been ridiculed as that being an absurd, ridiculous conspiracy theory beyond anything anyone could imagine. And yet just a few months ago, we saw President Obama and Joe Biden and every member of the cabinet boycott Prime Minister Netanyahu, who was fundamentally wrong. And yet at the same time, they're attacking and undermining our friends. They're propping up our enemies. So we look at this deal with Iran. The single greatest national security threat facing America is the threat of a nuclear Iran. If this deal goes through, the Obama administration, without exaggeration, will become the world's leading financier of radical Islamic terrorism. Over $100 billion will go to Iran. Billions of those dollars will go to Hamas, to Hezbollah, to the Houthis, and they will use that to murder Americans, Israelis, Europeans. If Secretary Clinton wants to know what real jihadists are, what real terrorists are, she doesn't need to look any further than ISIS and Iran and all of the radical Islamic terrorists that her administration keeps propping up and funding. It doesn't make any sense, and it's profoundly dangerous to our country.
Well, and good on you for highlighting Obama's capitulation to Iran with that asinine, unenforceable nukes agreement. You and Donald Trump together, I hear you're going to be in D.C. on September 9th to rally against this horrible plan, this deal. I assume that you guys have an open invite for all the candidates who really need to take a stand on this, Senator. Absolutely. We're having a rally on the U.S. Capitol grounds the afternoon of September 9th. We're having, I invited Donald Trump to come join me, and he very kindly accepted. We're going to have thousands of Americans, and it's across the spectrum. We're going to have Tea Party groups. We're going to have pro-Israel groups. We're going to have national security groups. Everyone who is concerned about protecting the safety and security of the United States of America, we're going to see thousands there at the rally, urging every member of Congress to do the right thing, and in particular to Democrats. Every Democratic member of Congress faces a choice. Does he or she value the national security of this country, standing with our friend and ally, the nation of Israel, and the lives of millions of Americans, more than they value partisan loyalty standing with the Obama White House? It is my hope they answer that question right. This rally is going to do everything we can to encourage them to do exactly that. You are one who would be walking the walk, not just talking the talk. So keep that up, and the example that you are providing other candidates, both sides of the aisle, and helping to bring Americans along on this whole journey towards peace. The only way, Reagan, the only way that we will have a peaceful existence is to exercise that strength, that God-given strength and the gifts that he has provided us. Senator, thank you so much for taking valuable valuable time out of your day. I know you got a million people out there waiting to hear from you, so I'll let you go, but just keep up the good work, keep the faith, and stay strong, sir.
Well, thank you, Governor Palin. It's good to see you. You know, I will note, thank you for your courageous voice in support of freedom. As you know, as I've said many times, I wouldn't be in the U.S. Senate today. I wouldn't be running for president today if it were not for you coming to Texas and supporting me. I am so grateful for your friendship and your fearless stance. And I'm proud to call you a friend. I will tell you, I miss that moose chili that you cooked up for me in Alaska. I look forward to hopefully getting some more sometime soon. And let me say to your viewers, if you want information either on religious liberty or on the rally, you can find it at our website, which is tedcruz.org, tedcruz.org. And thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. You too, Senator. Appreciate you so much.